Here with Mike Tomlin in the bowels of Heinz Field. And Mike, you've just finished off a win over the Detroit Lions, but in the preseason, it's not necessarily about that. It's about answering the questions that you guys have. Tell me about your offensive line, which you probably are going to start 5 guys at different positions than they started a year ago.
There have been 2 things that I've been really impressed with. First, their level of conditioning individually and collectively. The group's in great shape, and that's a catalyst for everything. And lastly, their finish. I like the direction that the pile has fallen. I like the effort that the guys are finishing plays with. If we continue to build off of that foundation, I'm confident that we're going to have the type of cohesion and have the type of line that we need.
A lot of coaches would look at an offensive line making 5 major changes the way you did. Maybe fear is the wrong word, but with some trepidation. How did you feel knowing that you were going to make all of these changes in the offseason?
It's just part of it. We were last in the league last year in running the football, so, there's not a lot of room or places to fall. We don't live in our fear. We live in our hopes and dreams. We're excited about this group that we're putting together and the way that they're working and the way that they're coming together.
Naji Harris has been a revelation throughout the offseason and through training camp. What have you seen in him that gives you hope he can be an impact player early?
He's just a tremendous competitor in just about every circumstance we put him in. Not only the things that you see in stadium, but probably more importantly, day-to-day in practice, in competition periods, in drill work. He's got a thirst for the competition, and that's exciting.
The interesting thing about your team is that very rarely do you have an end of the season kind of as devastating as you guys had, and then have to come into the next season and think, boost your team and say, hey, we're going to make it, we're going to be okay. How did you deal with your team mentally after how last season ended?
It's always devastating unless you're the world champ. That's the mentality that we have. So I understand your question, but I don't know that we live in that world. We realize that we set out to be world champs, and either you are or you aren't, and we weren't. And so we load up and we go with an effort to be world champs in 2021.
Do you think you've ever seen the division that you're going to be playing in as strong, with at least 3 teams, and maybe the Bengals too, as strong as this division is?
We don't pay a bunch of attention to the preseason hype or non-hype. We're just preparing ourselves to play. We respect everybody we play against. We respect the competition in our division. It's always going to be rough and tumble, but that's no indication of record. And so we just proceed with that understanding, and we're readying ourselves for the fights that lie ahead.
Last thing, Mike, you're entering your 15th year as a coach. You aren't even 50 years old yet. And I wonder, as you look at why so many young coaches in the NFL are making an imprint and getting hired early on the way you did, what do you see?
I'm not going to pretend to understand what people are looking for, but they're just some dynamic young coaches, some bright coaches out there, some guys that are on the cutting edge of innovation, and I think people want a part of that, offense and defense.
Mike, good luck this year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.